guys, today we're going to teach you about the physics behind soccer. We're going to show you some cool moves you can do and the dangers behind them.
Measuring the velocity, height, and force of a kick.
We measured the angle of my kick to be 27.7 degrees, and this is all the other data we measured in order to do the following math. We are assuming that this projectile is in free fall, meaning it is only impacted by gravity and no other forces. And we solve for the horizontal and vertical components of velocity separately because velocity is a vector, meaning it has both direction and magnitude. Since gravity is a vertical force, it only impacts the vertical motion of the ball and not the horizontal motion. This is the graph of our projectile. It would look like this if the velocity were lower, if the angle were lower, and if the initial height was higher.
Next, we're going to teach you about different types of kicks that you can do. When you want to make the path of the ball unpredictable, you should do a knuckleball shot because it minimizes friction in the air, causing air forces to act unevenly around it. The way you execute this shot is by hitting the ball at its center of mass, since the center of mass is the ball's balance point. Therefore, if the center of mass is not rotating, the ball won't rotate in the air.
Today we're here with our amazing goalie who's going to show us how to do a power shot. A power shot is a really good kick to do when you want to kick it straight in front of you and really far. So how you do a power shot is you use your laces because that creates a flat surface for the ball, which creates a normal force for the ball. When you kick the ball, you kick it in its center because kicking a ball at its center of mass minimizes spin and allows it to go in a parabola in the air. The Magnus kick is one of the coolest kicks in soccer, as the player can make the ball curve in the air by kicking it off center. What determines the Magnus force is the air resistance across the surface of the ball and the cross product between the angular velocity of the ball and the velocity of the air. In 1997, Roberto Carlos had a free kick against France using the Magnus spin, and it was so phenomenal that physicists wrote papers about it. We were also intrigued by this kick, so we gathered data about it to calculate the ball's initial velocity and maximum height. However, we used the projectile motion equations that assume that the ball is going in a parabola in the air, but Carlos's free kick has more directions than the equations count for, so these equations cannot accurately determine the velocity and height of his free kick. His kick shows how much the Magnus force can impact the trajectory of your shot, making it truly unpredictable.
Volleys introduced an important trick. Because the ball is struck in the air, there is no normal force or ground friction acting on it, allowing for a cleaner and faster shot. Players can also use environmental factors like wind to their advantage, as kicking with the wind reduces drag and increases distance, while kicking against it can enhance control or exaggerate curve.
We all know that winds can either carry or oppose a ball in the air, but by how much? In this experiment, we kicked the ball in 3 different directions to see what impact the wind has on a ball. Learned, wind has a large impact on how far the ball travels. If you're playing soccer on a windy day, make sure you are taking advantage of the wind during the half of the game where the wind goes in your direction, because it increases your chances of scoring.
Total aerodynamic force is split into 2 components, drag and lift. They aren't completely separate forces, they're just different directions of the same interaction between the ball and the air. Lift is a component of aerodynamic force perpendicular to the airflow of the ball, forcing it to curve and stay in the air longer, and it changes its direction. On a spinning soccer ball, lift is mainly caused by the Magnus effect. Drag is the force parallel to the airflow. The drag force always acts opposite to the ball's motion, slowing its acceleration down.
When juggling a soccer ball, players use the laces of their foot because it creates a flat surface between the ball and their foot. Since a ball is round, the center of mass is in the middle, so players aim their foot at the center bottom of the ball so it goes straight up in the air without spin. Then gravity pulls the ball back down in a straight line to their foot so they can continue to juggle the ball.
Juggling and all other kicks use Newton's second law of motion, which is that the acceleration of an object is directly proportional to the net force acting upon it and inversely proportional to its mass. Therefore, when juggling, the player does not apply too much force to the ball, because that would cause the ball to have high acceleration, making it harder to control.
When doing a header, you want to make sure to use Newton's third law. This is hitting the ball with an equal and opposite force. By doing this, you're countering the force, and this prevents injury. Like this. The left FBD shows the forces acting upon your head, and the right FBD shows the forces acting upon the ball in a header. We calculated the maximum height of the ball that I threw to Daisy to be 1.98 meters, and with that we were able to determine that the ball was going at 6.23 meters per second and had an impact force on Daisy's head of 264.8 newtons, which is a safe amount of force for her head to experience, especially since she countered the force of the ball correctly. As Coach Martinez taught the girls' soccer team, you want to hit the ball here. You don't want to hit it here, and it's even worse if it's here.
When a player heads a soccer ball, especially from a fast kick or cross, the ball rapidly decelerates on contact, causing a large change in momentum over a short time. According to the impulse momentum theorem, a shorter impact time creates a greater force on the head. By Newton's third law, when player pushes on the ball pushes back with an equal and opposite force. If a player passively lets the ball hit them, the head experiences more sudden acceleration and a higher injury risk. To reduce this, players are taught to drive their head towards the ball, which spreads the force through the neck and torso instead of concentrating it in their head. If headers are not done properly, players are at risk of brain injury, neck sprains, and other facial injuries. If the force is high enough, the brain can move rapidly inside the skull, causing the most common injury, a concussion. This is a traumatic brain injury that can damage brain cells and reduce blood flow. Risk increases with higher ball speed, repeated impacts, and poor technique, such as using the top or the back of the head instead of the forehead region to head the ball.